When you start trying to tell people about poverty, they start making excuses and making heartless statements about why people are in poverty, and they don't even have a clue.
There are 47% of the people who will vote for the president no matter what. All right, there are 47% who are with him, who are dependent upon government, who believe that they are victims, who believe that government has a responsibility to care for them, who believe that they're entitled to health care, to food, to housing, to you name it. These are people who pay no income tax. And so my job is not to worry about those people. I'll never convince them that they should take personal responsibility and care for their lives.
That was Mitt Romney speaking about the poor and the working poor when he thought no one but his rich donors were listening at a fundraiser in May. Leading into Mitt Romney was an actual member of the 47%, Sheila from Chicago, a supervisor at a bank who fell down a flight of stairs and as a result fell down into poverty at the age of 37. Sheila is one of 4 people who had good jobs but slipped below the poverty line through no fault of their own. Those stories are told in a new, powerful documentary film called The Line. Here's more of it.
$23,000 is no money, nearly. And yet I could still see families who make $35,000, who are still poor, who are still about to lose their home, who still can't afford groceries.
When you start trying to tell people about poverty, they start making excuses and making heartless statements about why people are in poverty, and they don't even have a clue. They don't even have a clue. One of my first jobs was working at a bank downtown. I was one of the youngest supervisors at the bank. I didn't have my first child till I was 30. I didn't have to depend on anyone, and all the bottom fell out in one fall. It's just all the bottom fell out. There was a screw. My boot got caught in the screw, and I fell head first, 14 feet, into a wall. I broke my arm in two places. I knocked my brain into my spinal column. So it's caused me to start having strokes. I ended up having to have brain surgery where they had to take a big piece of my skull out so my brain could breathe. It took me 15, 20 years to finally get back to where I could be up and around it. And keep in mind that I had a 7-month-old, a 2-year-old, and a 6-year-old.
As we said, Sheila is one of Mitt Romney's 47%, but let's look beyond politics for a minute and look at the moral responsibility that we have to Sheila and millions of people just like her. Joining me to talk about that is Jim Wallis. He is the CEO of Sojourners, an organization committed to applying faith to social justice. Jim, welcome back to Washington Watch.
Great to see you again.
Political folks saw that video that Mother Jones ran of Mitt Romney, and they said, wow, awesome political opportunity. Earlier, our panel talked about it in terms of the Obama campaign running an ad. You saw, though, an ethical, moral opportunity.
Yeah, I focused on the question that he was asked. Somebody said, how do we get these people to take care of themselves? That was the question. So he's talking about other people,
right,
and he's denying several things. One is the facts, which you've talked about. They pay taxes, they're working, elderly veterans. But he's also denying our obligation to one another in all of our traditions. He's denying that these are our neighbors. These are our neighbors. What does it mean to treat each other as neighbors?
And there's this attitude of, oh, there are these so many moochers out there that we're just taking care of who do nothing all day.
And the thing that you and I know, too, is lower income people actually give more, a percentage of their income, to charity. They give more than the wealthy do. So there's a denial of the facts, but on a deeper level, there's a denial of our obligations here. So the Republican convention, funded by rich people to focus at middle-class voters, we saw that. The Democratic convention, funded by rich people to focus at middle-class voters. So where is the issue of poverty? That's why we're doing this film. The issue of poverty, this is the biggest poverty rate in almost 50 years in this country. So I hope on that first debate, Jim Lehrer asked the question, the domestic policy debate, what are you going to do?
You have these other shows out here, these cable networks and broadcast networks. They are afraid to even raise the question because, let's just be honest, most of those folks who are on those shows, who are hosts, are also in that 1%.
Well, that's the thing no one talks about here. I mean, now the distance is so great. The senators are all millionaires, the congresspeople and the media people generally are too. And so half of our population is either at the poverty line or just above or one or two checks away. My brother's house is underwater in Detroit. You know, a whole lot of people, and we don't talk about that because the conversation is shaped by people who don't know any people or don't have any friends with people. And this film talks about the new faces of poverty, people who, you know, are now in our pews, our families, part of our lives, and that could open us up to a whole new understanding of what it means to say our brother and sister is our neighbor.
Well, I'll be looking for that conversation and debate. Hopefully it happens.
Let's hope it happens.
If it doesn't, we'll be sure to call him out. Jim, always glad to have you on the show.
Always great to see you, man.
Thanks a bunch.
Take care.
Folks, you can see all of The Line at the world premiere here in Washington, D.C. on Tuesday, October 2nd at 8 p.m. at the Gwendolyn and Morris Caffritz Theater. It's a powerful look at the new face of poverty in America that will hopefully make you want to take some action.
And 1,200 people are doing showings around the country.
All right.
And if you want to show it, sign up, sojo.net. You can show it in your church, in your family. 1,200 people are showing this thing.
And also go to theline.com as well for more information.
Yeah.